It's 4th of July weekend, and basketball is returning. We are going to talk about the TBT. We got a special guest, and then I got two of the guys Stenson and David, to come on, and we're going to talk about the rosters, who we got winning, some players to watch, games to watch, and, basketball. Also, I announced last week a couple of the shows upcoming. We got Alex Perez. I talked to him. He's going to come on. He's delayed. We are going to have him on in a future episode, not on the 8th. I'll keep you posted when that comes out. All right. We're going to welcome in our special guest tonight. He's been covering and announcing the TBT on ESPN since 2017. He's back there on the calls this weekend. This year, it will be broadcasted in 197 countries, so it's a big deal. He's worked as a freelance analyst, commentator for the past 20-plus years. He's worked with ESPN, Fox, NBC, the Stadium Network, and more. Welcome in Tim Scarborough. What's going on, Tim?
Yo, what's up, Patrick? How you doing, man?
Doing all right. How are you doing out there?
Wow, it's an interesting time trying to survive in this COVID-19 environment and preparing for probably the biggest games I've ever called in my life. And you consider it's going around the entire world.
Right. It's crazy. I just saw another team. I just saw 20 minutes ago, because I was out of cell phone service all day. I just saw another team got replaced, the Jimmy V team.
Yes, and Jimmy V was a replacement team themselves, so the replacement got replaced.
Yeah, that's
so,
wild.
Yeah, they're out. Yeah, so, and I'm covering that game, so I was already scrambling to get familiar with Jimmy V, and then now I have to get familiar with Peoria with a really short turnaround. Well, actually, I guess they don't play till Sunday, so I have a little bit of time. But yeah, so that's, the TBT staff. The guys that do the background stuff is doing a lot of hard work and getting us kind of like a sports information team, that colleges use. They're getting us all the information, sending emails out. We get all the latest emails in terms of who's in, who's out, latest roster changes. So that stuff is always moving. It's very fluid, right up until game time, really.
Right. Do they have, I was curious about this. So what happens if we're in the middle of the tournament and something happens? I know they kind of replaced the whole team. Do they have teams out there on standby kind of, or are they out after once they're in? So
after today, they have officially run out of standby teams. So, for example, I believe they have 4 standby teams, and at this point, they've all been plugged in, and as we mentioned, Jimmy V was plugged in and pulled back out. When those standby teams were all required to go through the same gates that the other 24 teams, the original 24 teams, they had to go through the same COVID-19 gates that those other teams went through for this very occasion, so that if a team got removed, they're already in quarantine, they're already in the system, they're in what they call the bubble, and they're available to play at the time they're called upon. It's brilliant planning on the part of John Mugar, who is the founder of TBT, and he's kind of trailblazer in his own right with this TBT, and we'll talk a little bit about that later in terms of the uniqueness of TBT, but more importantly, their contingency plans and their stringent standards by which they're judging whether a team is eligible in terms of COVID-19. If one person tests positive, the whole team is kicked out. So it's a really, really rigid thing. And I shouldn't say that. If they test positive once they get in the bubble. So the presumption is if you're in the bubble and you're only with your team and you tested positive, then theoretically you probably have infected one or more of your teammates. So therefore, the entire team is jettisoned from the tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be wild if they find someone that played already. So say 2 games in and someone's still there. What happens to the team you played? Well, it's just going to be interesting.
I think because of the way they're testing, and you have to go through, I believe, 5 tests throughout the course of the week, they're trying to eliminate that very scenario. So I guess once again, in theory, because it's the invisible virus, so we really don't truly know.
Mm-hmm.
But in theory, if everybody tests negative, you get inside the bubble, and no one leaves that bubble, which is a whole other thing. But they do have tight security around it. I believe that once you get in, it's really hard to get out. I was talking to Jen Hale, the sideline reporter, earlier today, and she's going through it too, because she's on site. The rest of us announcers are off site. We're actually at Indianapolis, Indiana. But Jen I was saying, Jen, it might be easier to get out of the mafia than it is to get out of that bubble right now. She was glad. But really, so in theory, since nobody's left the bubble and everybody that tested in the bubble is negative, if COVID-19 were in there, then obviously everybody would get exposed to it. But their theory is if everybody tests negative and they get in and they clean and do all those other protocols, then theoretically they're in the safest part of the world. It's COVID-19 free.
Yeah. Hopefully that's the case, man. This COVID thing is getting crazy.
It really is.
So I've seen the preparations for it. They seem like they're taking really, really good preparations. Like you just explained, I didn't know all that detail was going into it. So hopefully everything goes off. Other than the health and safety related things, and what other notable changes have been made? I know you've been covering the TBT for a couple of years. This is the 7th year.
Yeah.
Any other notable changes that they've made to the TBT that you can highlight?
Other than the fact that it's a truncated tournament, 24 teams instead of 64. Actually, one year there was a jamboree, kind of a play-in. Instead of having bubble teams, they made those 16 teams on the outside looking in. They just let them play each other in a one weekend tournament, and the top 4 teams got to go advance into those tournament spots. But this last few years, there's just been 64 teams. So now getting down to 24, that's one difference. The second difference is the money. There's only a $1 million winner as opposed to the $2 million that's been passed around the last few years. But you remember the humble beginnings, it was only $500,000. So it's grown to $2 million, and now just for this year, it'll be back to $1 million. But if we get back to normal someday, I could see this growing to even 3, 4, or even $5 million. I mean, it is that big.
Oh, for sure. I think with such a big stage this year, it's paving the way for the NBA, kind of in a way. I mean, it's only 10 days, so yeah. I think the bubble will be not really a problem with these people. I don't know about the NBA, but I mean with such a big stage on this tournament, and I'll be honest, I haven't watched a ton of it. I've seen games, but I haven't been this excited to watch the TBT in years past. But looking into it, there's a lot of talent in these games. I mean, they got overseas talent. They got former NBA, future NBA. I know 34 players have signed NBA. I think it was 34 have signed NBA, resulting from the TBT. So I'm excited to see it.
It's two things. It's a showcase for guys that are borderline players trying to get in to the NBA. It's another job interview, so to speak, or audition. But secondly, it's also for guys who are kind of winding down in their career, maybe in between the NBA contracts or looking for that one last contract to get an audition for them. And then thirdly, the overseas pros who some of them are truly good enough to be in the NBA, but it's just a numbers game. They decided to go over and take the sure money overseas. But there is a ton of talent. And you think about, again, those humble beginnings with just 24 teams, most of the games played in Philadelphia. This is a long way from that, buddy. The talent level is off the charts. When you think about that overseas elite team, who, as TBT fans probably know, won 4 of the 6 previous tournaments. They had never lost a tournament game until last year. Over $7 million in earnings. Yeah. And all they did, they got to the semifinals last year, and all they did was add Joe Johnson and Jared Jack to their lineup.
ISO Joe.
ISO Joe is in the TBT this year. Yeah. So, and there are other teams who have guys on that same level, but I believe this overseas elite team may be the most talented we've seen in TBT so far.
Right. There's some. I was review. We're gonna do a little. Me and a couple of buddies are gonna talk about some of the teams we like after we get done. But it's interesting looking at a lot of the players. I've never even heard of, to be honest. So it's hard to, because they're from overseas or they're from small colleges. So it's going to be interesting to see the different talent that comes out. And like I've heard of Joe Johnson, all the March Madness guys, John Elmore, those Bryce Brown, those guys. I've heard of all those. I've watched them. This is the March Madness of this year since it got taken from us by this monster that's COVID.
Oh,
so
yeah, and March Madness was going to be so good this year too. I was really looking forward to that. I was very disappointed.
Oh,
but again, you're right. This TBT is a chance to scratch that itch, so to speak. So I'm really excited.
Right. So all right. Let's get into the actual games a little bit. So we won't talk specific matchups too much, but what's the one must-watch game from the first round games? None of the bye teams. The first round that's going off July 4th, July 5th. What's the one game?
Well, obviously, I got to say the games that I'm covering, right? the first game of the whole thing tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. I guess it's noon your time.
Yeah.
It's Brotherly Love, a team out of Philadelphia, a bunch of ex-Temple University, some writer guys from New Jersey. They are playing the Stillwater Stars. Now, Stillwater Stars are an Oklahoma State alumni team. LeBron Nash, Brian Williams. They got a guy named James Banks III that played at Texas for a couple of years and then finished up at Georgia Tech, a 6'10" center. They are a team to be reckoned with in the early going. Now, the thing is, this is their first year, and TBT is a little different animal. You really don't know what you're in for until you actually start playing the game, because of the uniqueness of how they end the game with the Elam ending. They also have a couple of Kansas guys, Tyshawn Taylor, Nadir Tharp. So that's always interesting when you have a team. The guys have been rivals, and they literally hate that other school, and now they're putting on that school colors to try to win this $1 million. So that matchup there is going to be good. You mentioned John Elmore. Heard that. I'm excited to see that Marshall team, the Marshall alumni team. I cover Conference USA quite extensively. If you look at highlights of John Elmore on YouTube, you're probably going to hear my voice behind it, because I did a ton of his games throughout his career. Team Hines versus Sideline Cancer. Sideline Cancer is a team much improved over last year. Team Hines was a team that made it to the Final 8 last year. A bunch of overseas guys. But Nick Calathis, the big shooter out of Florida, is not playing with them, I believe. So that hurts them a little bit. They had a guy named Mike James last year. That's a super good pro. He's not playing with them either. But Ethan Happ, the Wisconsin star, the Big Ten star, is a big name for them, and he'll carry the load for them offensively. But there's a lot of good matchups this weekend. Yeah,
you mentioned it. So the Stillwater Stars, that's one team I'm excited to watch. So that's one of the games. Which games are you covering? So you're covering that game, and then what's the other one, or the other couple?
Big X. The Big X team.
That team is loaded.
Big X is much improved over a year ago. I talked to Andrew Dockage, the young man who put that team together. Big X is a simple combination of Big Ten stars. So mostly Ohio State and Michigan, because Andrew Dockage is one of the few people in this world that has played for Ohio State and Michigan. So he's in a very unique way. Again, talking about rivalries and playing on both sides of it, right? But he's got a really good team that he's assembled this year. I talked to him earlier today, and they're excited about what they can do. His dad, of course, is Dan Dockage, who will be broadcasting this weekend as well. The 4 games that I'm not calling as the analyst, Dan Dockage will be calling. So, but they have a really good squad that they put together.
Yeah, I remember looking at them. I saw Nick Ward's on the team, so they got it seemed like they have a mixture of big guys and little guys. Like some of the teams I looked at.
Nick is really their really true center, and he's only 6'9". But they have a guy named Jahiva Floyd. You probably don't know him. Holy Cross. He was the defensive player of the year in the Patriot League 2 straight years. 6'9". And he and Nick Ward will really have to hold it down hold it down. They have a lot of good defensive players. Javon Best is certainly a great defensive player. Played at Michigan State, finished his career at St. Louis. So they've got some talent on that group for sure.
Was Kellen Dunham on that team too?
Yeah, Kellen Dunham.
Butler, yeah.
Sure.
He is a sharpshooter.
Yep.
So
great shooter.
So yeah,
now they had a couple of guys that tested positive before they got in the bubble.
Okay.
But the rest of their team was able to jump in, so Big X is good to go as of today.
All right, yeah, no. So there's a bunch of good games. I'm excited to watch. Sit down and watch some. What team are you looking at in the 9 to 24 ranked teams? Because the top 8 got to bye. What team do you think can really make a run at winning this? I don't know if you're allowed to say that, or is there an eye on a team that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely, and I may come off as a bit of a homer, but that brotherly love team, I genuinely believe they can get to the finals. There are 12 seeds. Again, a bunch of guys from Philly that play together a lot. And they've had a lot of TBT success. They played 4 games 2 years ago when they were Talladega Nights. They were. They changed the name to Brotherly Love because they had more Philly guys and they added to it. And last year they also made it to Chicago and played 4 games as well. Well, they were 2 games away from the championship the last 2 years. So 12 seed was a little low for them, in my opinion. They were a really good team, well coached. And even when they get beat by teams that have better post play. And so what they've done, they've got 2 6'10" centers that aren't going to score a lot of points for them, but at least they can control the paint and keep them from getting hammered on the glass. So I think that brotherly love team of all the teams, the lower seed, if you say lower seed 11 and down, brotherly love is the team I would say. That team, CP3, Chris Paul's team, has a chance, but I don't know how many of those guys made it through the gate in order to, I don't think they're bringing all their players on their roster, so I kind of count them out.
Yeah, I did see, before we get into the next question, so I'm trying to look at the rosters, and a lot of the teams that you click on, there's only, 6, 7, 8 guys. So I don't fully know.
Yeah, the website isn't as robust. Of course, as in my prep work, I get the inside scoop. So most of the rosters have 10 guys, but you really don't want too many more than that. I think it's the VCU teams over the last couple of years, very talented teams. They bring 14 guys. Yeah. They all want to play. They're all professional basketball players. We all know 4 of them ain't going to play that much, and then you start getting that that negative energy over on the bench before you're early round defeat. So. So you gotta have a nice balance of guys, and the guys you bring, they're going to want to play. So you don't want to bring too many guys. And this year, with the COVID-19 bubble situation, you can only bring 12 people. So, and I say people because your coaches count and your GM count and your trainer, whoever else you can bring 12 bodies. Period. So every time you bring an extra ancillary person, you lose one of your players.
Yeah, like you said, I think 8 to 9 guys is probably the best. 8, maybe 10. You got to be prepared for injury, but 8 to 10 guys because everybody, like you said, everybody wants to play. Is there any late breaking roster moves that have been made over the past couple of days that maybe nobody knows about that you know of?
I'm hearing the money team, Floyd Mayweather, has some things up his sleeve, but they're being very quiet about it. But naturally he would, though, right? There's nothing college NCAA, right? So there's nothing that tells you can't pay players to join your team. So, he can incentivize a couple of guys to get on his roster at the last minute. But again, they still got to go through that protocol. So whoever they're adding, I would assume they're already in Columbus and haven't gone through part of that protocol.
I feel like this is breaking news, man. You just told me Floyd Mayweather has some tricks up his sleeve. This is breaking news. This is going to be the clip.
Well, I don't know if it's a secret that Floyd Mayweather has a lot of money now. I think that's well documented.
He could be. Can he play basketball? He's going to assign himself to the roster and show up and play point guard for that team. Maybe 50 Cent's going to come get some rebounds for him.
I take my chances as a basketball player, even now in my advanced age with Floyd Mayweather. I don't think he's a ball player.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So now I'm just gonna be on the edge of my seat until TMT takes the floor. Waiting for the break.
It's only must-see TV. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's get on to specific. I know you mentioned some specific players that you're looking at. Is there any other guys that you can think of off the top of your head that not many people know about, or is just a stud that you want to kind of have your eye on, or maybe a potential NBA contract is in the works?
Well, there's a few guys who are going to be auditioning as we talk about, but I kind of like the old veteran, Travis Dina, the former Marquette guard who played with Dwayne Wade in the Final Four in 2004. I look at Travis Dina at 38 years old, 39 almost. He is a terrific basketball player even today. Hits big shots for that Golden Eagles team. They've been in the Final Four the last 2 years, and he's got one more go at it, I think. This will probably be his last year in TBT. So Travis Dina is going to come out on a real mission, and that team is just loaded. They got a lot of good players from the Marquette roster recently. They added Darius Johnson-Odom.
That's my guy.
Yeah, and he was on Boogie Cousins' team last year. He didn't play with his alma mater, but Boogie Cousins didn't put a team with this year, so he switched over to his alma mater, the Golden Eagles. But that's the thing, when you truncate this tournament, you shorten it, you can add people from the 2019 that probably would have gotten in at a higher seed, but they didn't make the tournament. And you got guys in those rosters that still want to play.
Right.
So, that's why in the last couple of weeks, we've seen a few roster changes that can really make a difference makers on each roster.
Yeah, when I looked at some of the seedings, I would look at the rosters, and I'm like, it seems like a few of the teams are seeded too low based on the rosters they have. I see some guys out there, and I'm like, man.
You got to throw the seeding out the window. After the top 8, you throw the seeding out the window because it's just parity in TBT. It really is.
Right, and I asked Bryce, so I went on the media day yesterday, the virtual media day. I talked to Bryce Brown. I asked him, how do you feel about getting a game under your belt prior to potentially facing Carmen Screw in the second round? And with me, too, I feel the same way. He said that he wants the game to get, wants the extra game under his belt before he would have to face that team. So I think the momentum could carry you. One and done situation, you never know. Momentum's a real thing. So
it is, but you get some rest between the games.
Yep.
Because they play on July 4th, and then won't play till Monday or Tuesday. So they'll have a little bit of time. But Carmen's Crew is the real deal, man. Again, they won the $2 million last year. Such a cohesive unit. Jared Sullinger is a really good coach. I think one day Jared's going to be an NBA coach someday. His dad was a coach. And, of course, Jared has played the NBA and got great experience. Whenever his team isn't playing in the TBT, or if I'm not working, I'm sitting at courtside with Jared, and we just talk basketball. We watch the game and break it down. And he is a great basketball mind. So that team that Carmen's Crew team is really good. Of course, they're playing home games, although there won't be any fans there. It's still got to be somewhat of an advantage for them.
Right. So that's the next thing I was going to ask you about. So the repeat, I was going to say it's super hard to repeat in a tournament like this. But then I go back, you mentioned it earlier, but Overseas Elite won 4 times in a row. So now, it's hard to. 4 times in a row, but it wasn't easy though. I mean, they had several times during that, or a few times, I should say, during that 4 championship run, they were down by 15, 20 points in games, and just so resilient. They would come back and win. Right.
It's really hard to beat. But repeating, I am not betting on Carmen's Crew to repeat. This field is just too tough.
Yeah,
because they would have their hands full with Red Scare, that Dayton team. If that Dayton team survives and moves on to that second game, or the third game for them, second game for actually they get a bye too because they're 8 seed. So that quarterfinal matchup,
right?
Carmen's Crew versus Dayton, that Red Scare, that's going to be a matchup everybody is going to want to see.
So this will come later, but one of the games I'm looking forward to is War Tampa versus Carmen. I think that's a second round matchup.
Second round, yeah. But they got to survive that house of pain, though.
No,
yeah, you're right.
I feel like every game in the start, because it's such a weird year, every game should be there's not a roster on there. You look at it and be like, oh, that's a cakewalk. So it's going to be interesting.
No, I agree. Even that replacement team, that B2 team, that's a bunch of Division II stars. Well, all they did was beat a Kentucky team of stars last year by 20 points. Well, 15, 20 points in Lexington, Kentucky in the first round. So they're the real deal. So yeah, there's not a lot of there's no cupcakes in this 2014 tournament. That's for sure.
Let's get into the Elam ending real quick. Do you like the Elam ending? And for the listeners, if you want to explain it real quick, you can.
Yeah. So Elam ending, and if you watch the games over the weekend, I explained it back in 2017 when it started, and they still use that explanation on all the broadcasts and in the arena and over the air. So you'll hear my explanation, but it's pretty simple. It's kind of like pickup basketball. And, once you get to the 4-minute mark, under 4 minute first dead ball, you take the clock out of the equation, and then you put a target score up. And that target score is 9 points more than the team with the lead. So, Patrick, if you have 80 and I have 75, the target score is 89. Mm-hmm. And obviously, you're closer to 89 than I am. So, but what it does is it makes you strategize getting up to the Elam ending, because you don't want to be trailing by too much, because then all of a sudden, when they turn that clock off, every possession becomes really important. But the thing that I like about the Elam ending is it eliminates two things. There's no fouling to stop the clock.
Yes.
So that's that ragged basketball that you see at the end of so many college and pro basketball games. And secondly, the offensive team is not going to stall. They have to keep running their offense because they still need points. And then I think the third byproduct of it is no one ever clears their bench. You still have to leave your starters at the end of the game. You're up 20 because you still have work to do. So you got to put, in both possessions. And maybe, when you get like a point or two from it, I've seen teams, if they're up 20 and they need one bucket, I've seen teams empty their bench. But really, Elam ending has cleaned up all the ugliness of basketball at the end of the game. And that's really what Nick Elam, the guy who designed it, was trying to do.
Right. So I agree with you. Made some good points there. So I have a pop quiz question for you. I don't know the answer to this. What's the biggest Elam ending comeback that has happened? That you remember, at least.
I know in the very first year of that Jamboree, Josh Selvin from Kansas.
Josh Shelby?
Kansas star. Yeah, Josh Shelby.
Okay, that's what I remember. Okay.
Yeah, Josh Shelby. Yep. He came back from, I believe, 9 down, and they only put 7 on the clock, on the target back then.
16.
So they needed 16 points, and they went on a 16-6 run and won the game.
All right.
I don't know if I've seen that since. Although the NBA All-Star game, the team that was trailing, LeBron's team was trailing, and they ended up winning. So it definitely happens, but most of the time, the team that's leading, especially if they're leading by a couple of baskets, they're usually able to hang on.
Yeah, no, I like the ending, especially for this type of tournament. And like you said, pickup ball. I had a team up 8-2 yesterday, I think, or 10-2, and they lost 12-10. It was great.
I heard. Well, it was great if you came back.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get a couple more questions, and I'll let you go and get some rest for tomorrow. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. No, I was going to say, I'm not resting now. I'm still studying. There's a lot to do.
Oh, I'll let you get to studying. You're studying right now. All right. So what's your you've been covering this thing a couple of years. Obviously, I think you're going to cover it till the day it dies. What's your favorite thing about the TBT?
My favorite thing actually is something that I'm not going to get to do this year, and that's be on site.
Yep.
The games in person. And I'm not talking about even the games that I work, because I usually work the earlier rounds, and then like that last bit, Fran Fraschilla kind of takes over, ESPN analyst. And when they're on the air, I'm still there. I go, like last year in Chicago, I went to all those games in Chicago. I go to the games, Final Four games in Baltimore the last few years. I'm always there at the end. The celebrations at the end of the game, especially the championship game when the confetti comes out. And for those people that don't watch TBT, at the end of the game, they have bracket ceremony where you move your team's bracket over to the next round.
Yeah.
So I've been in the midst of all those celebrations. So it's just a great, really festive atmosphere that we're not going to have, at least fans won't be able to participate. The teams will still do it. But yeah, that's the thing I love the most about it, the festivities after the game and just the energy in the building throughout the entire game.
Right. So you get to watch it as a fan versus commentating. Sometimes.
Oh, I love it. Of course, I love to work, but I love to be a fan too. Yeah.
All right, cool. Last question. Who's winning the NBA Finals?
NBA. Oh,
well, I shifted a little bit. Who you got in the NBA?
Man, there's no telling because, I mean, there's so many variables. Who's coming? Who's staying out?
Yeah.
Will they be able to even pull this thing off in 4 months? And TBT is trying to do it in 10 days.
Right.
4 months of quarantine and keeping everybody in one building. That's really tough. But I'm gonna say it's probably one of the Los Angeles teams, Clippers or Lakers. People are high on Milwaukee. I don't believe in that team. That Toronto team is still surprisingly good as the defending champions, but they lost Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
But Kawhi being on the Clippers, to me, gives the Clippers and the Lakers those teams title to lose.
Right. I pretty much agree with you. I took a flyer on Boston, but I think the Lakers get it done. But anyway,
you would never get me to say Boston's going to win anything. I'm a silly guy.
You just hate Boston.
I would never tell you Boston. Hate them.
All right, Tim. Well, that's all I got for you. If you want to add anything, you can. The floor is yours.
No, I'm good, man. But I hope everybody tunes in. 197 countries. It's the only team sport that's on of the 4 major sports in America that's going to be on TV for the next 10 days. I hope everybody watches and just sit back and enjoy the show because TBT is special, and I'm glad the whole world is finally getting to see what we've seen over the last couple of years.
All right, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Have fun out there, and then you mentioned we talked before March Madness next year. If it goes off, you'll be in Vegas. We'll be in Vegas. We'll meet up, have a drink.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely, we'll have to meet up.
For sure, man. I appreciate you coming on, and have a good TBT.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, talk to you soon. All right, so Stenson, I got Stenson and David in the building. We're going to talk TBT. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
All right, so basketball's back. Who's excited? Don't raise your hand. Just say me.
Me.
All right.
Of course.
Yeah. We've been waiting a long time for this. Hopefully this goes off without a hitch so the NBA can kind of use this as a guideline. I know 10 days in a bubble. TBT's only 10 days.
Oh, they have a bubble?
Yeah, they can't leave. We talked about with them, there's a strict, he said it's harder, the mafia is running it. We could have a problem. You can't get out.
Are they monitoring their location?
Yeah, 10, I don't know. I don't think the rings. I haven't heard anything about
ankle bracelets.
The Aura ring. Just on lockdown. I don't think they'd play if that was the case. But yeah, 10 days in a bubble to play some ball. I think any one of us would gladly go play some basketball.
Oh yeah.
For $1 million. They're not leaving their bubble.
Yeah.
So hopefully that goes off, and that's kind of a stepping stone for the NBA to go off. But this episode is just about the TBT for the most part. Let's get into so first round. There's some games. So there's 24 teams. The first round, the 9th through 24th seed are playing. Who is a team that you guys like from the first round matchups that could potentially make a run, maybe to the Final Four, take the whole thing down, whatever? Who do you guys got? Stenson, we'll start with you.
I got Team Hines. So last year they took 4th place in the tournament, and this year they're seeded at, what are they, 11. So they're an 11 seed. Last year they got 4th. They have Brandon Paul, player from Illinois. He's been killing it overseas in the Euro League. They have Nick Calathis. He's kind of like a do-it-all guy from Florida, so he's been killing it in the tournament as well. And then they have they added Ethan Happ. So if anybody's watched college basketball, they know who Ethan Happ is. I don't think he's ever made a shot outside of the paint, right?
I don't know if that was for his career or if it was this season, but I remember the stat that said he was never. I don't think he attempted one outside the paint. He was 120, 0 for 0 outside the paint. Which
so
is
he's
insane.
obviously a big guy. So they added him. So I think their roster is pretty stacked for an 11 seed. And then not only are they have a good squad, but the team they're facing, the first two actually with sideline cancer in the first round, and then even after that, the team challenge ALS, who's a 5th seed. I have them as like the weakest top 8 team. So I think they have, not only do they have a good squad, but they have an easy road to the final 8, Elite 8.
Yeah, that was one of my next questions. We'll get to it. Was the most overrated top 8 team.
Yeah.
So obviously we know your answer.
Yeah. So I got Hines.
You got Team Hines. How far? Well, do you have them winning it all?
No.
Final 4, just
Final 4.
making a couple runs.
Final 4.
All right, let's get to Dave. Who you got on your surprise squad?
So my surprise squad is the 14th seed in Heartfire. They just got a new coach in Scott Drew, and they're led by Malachi Richardson, former product Isaiah Austin. Remember he had that heart condition? Well, he's coming back. They have Jordan Adams, Christian Doolittle, and Quincy Miller. This team's pretty stacked from a physical standpoint, and they all have some pretty good basketball IQ, and I feel like they could make some upsets. Yeah. I'm noticing that they're playing Manamaki. They're a 19 seed. Their team Purdue. That should be a good game, but I feel like Heartfire should take it over. So they're my favorite first round matchups that are not a favorite.
Yeah, I looked at a couple. I those two I didn't even consider.
Right.
Actually,
I had
a bunch of Heartfire. I had actually
going deep too.
Yeah.
So the team I'm looking at is Stillwater Stars. I love Oklahoma State.
Okay.
I always I don't know why.
Marcus
The ballers.
Smart fan.
Marcus Smart. But they got Armani Brooks. He played at Houston. So there's other people on the team other than just those teams. So they got Tyshawn Taylor from Kansas. LeBrian Nash played at Oklahoma State. But I just, contrary to what Tim said earlier, he loves brotherly love, that team. But I don't know too much about. I think there's a lot of unknown players. He's the insider, so I'm probably way off on this. But I think the Stillwater Stars, they're the 21st ranked or 21 seed in the tournament. And then I looked at Eberline Drive, which I don't think is a huge favorite. Or I looked at the roster and I didn't see that much difficulty getting through that.
I know they have J.P. McCura and Adonis Thompson
from Memphis.
But other than those guys, I don't think they have any big.
Because there was other teams I looked at, like War Tampa. I think they can make a run, but they got the matchup the second round with Carmen's Crew is a big, it's a tough match. It's toughest. They're the 1 seed, so if they get past the first round, they got to play with them. So I think Stillwater has a easier path to maybe the third round than some of the other teams. So I'll go with them, just based on that pretty much. I'm excited to watch them though. Armani Brooks just cast, if I remember right. Some of these guys have played a couple years ago from Houston. Was he on the Rob Gray team or no?
I don't remember.
I
Was that
think
more
he's
recent?
more recently.
More recent, the year after.
Yeah, they have a good team. I saw they did only have like 7 people listed on their roster.
Yeah. So
I don't know if they're adding more, but that could be an issue.
Right. Well, you get 12 total.
Yeah.
So that includes coaches, GMs.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. So
yeah, I only saw 7 guys playing. So
right. All right. Question 2: game to watch. What's the one game you can't miss in the first round? If you look at the games, I know you got your sleepers, but is there a game that you looked at and couldn't decide who's winning?
Yeah, I'm going House of Pain and War Tampa. So what is that? I think that's what are the
16,
seeds?
17.
17. So yeah, that's how they seeded them. So I think it's just unique from the perspective that House of Pain has like all bigs. They have tons of big guys. They have, I think Mike Dom. They have Dom is on their team. So he's one of the bigs. So they have like 6 guys that are over 6'8". And then you go with Ward Tampa, and they've got the best, probably my favorite backcourt in the whole tournament. Bryce Brown from Auburn and Fletcher McGee. And they're just going to cast. So I think that'll be cool to watch. It's the guards versus the bigs pretty much who can win that battle.
Yeah, Egwu. Egwu is the other big guy. He played at Illinois, but him and Dom down low could be a problem down low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Brown and McGee will probably fire up 33s between the two of them.
Yeah. Who you like?
I like the very first game of the day. Big X, as you'd say.
Big X? I thought it was Big X, man. I don't know.
The Big Ten versus D2. So I feel like these D2 guys, a lot of them are comprised from the, second level of college. I feel like they have a chip on their shoulder. So some people might take them as serious, and they might. I mean, these guys are college athletes. They're physical specimens as well, and this might be a chance to pretty much show the world that these guys, they can compete.
Yeah.
They're no slouches.
A lot of them have been killing it overseas too, and then these Big Ten guys are like fresh out of college. So the D2 players have some experience.
Yeah, I like that. So I think D2 could pull off the very first upset for the very first game.
I got them winning.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we talked about Big X a little bit. Kellen Dunham, Nick Ward, or Big Ten, whatever.
Yeah, either way.
So the D2 is a replacement team. So I'm going to go with the game I want to watch is still, even though the Jimmy V team, I was looking forward to Jimmy V versus Heard That, the Marshall alum. Mm-hmm. But I'm still, and even though Jimmy V just got replaced, I'm still looking forward to that game just because the style the Heard That team plays. The Mike D'Antoni team, they got the Elmore brothers, Ott and John. They're just going to cast threes. I talked to John. They're just going to cast. They're not towing the line. They're casting.
Right.
There's no.
Just go for it. That's what they do. So
that's what they do, and they do have Chris Cockley from UAB. He's a power forward, and Ja'Cory Williams he played at Middle Tennessee State. So that was when they were on the March Madness run. They beat Michigan State. So they got some other guys, but the majority they got Rondell Watson. So they're just going to be casting. So just based on the fact that they're just going to be launching 3-pointers. And they got Zach Smith from Texas Tech. At first, I thought it was Zaire Smith. That's not the same guy, right?
No.
Because he's on the Sixers, right?
That?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like them, too. Their only issue is the bigs. I think that
Zach Smith's a power forward.
He's there at 6'8". He's their biggest guy.
Him and Coxley or whatever.
Like 6'8", so they don't have anything down low. But.
Yeah. If Elmore gets hot, though, we saw him in the March Madness tournament. Let's get the Elmore brothers going.
Right.
Even though both of them, I asked them who's going to win a horse game. They both disagreed. They're both going to smash each other. I feel like Ott was more confident a little bit because I feel like he's got tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, still post the IG. They're probably not listening, but
yeah, that'll be fun to watch.
So that's the game I'm looking for, and it's on July 5th, so it's not on the 4th. I'm definitely watching that game.
Yeah.
So that's the game I'm looking forward to. Let's go into the most overrated team. You kind of alluded to it, but the Team ALS, right? That's your most overrated team in the top 8.
Yeah, just because I wasn't familiar with a lot of the guys they had on the roster. So I know Malcolm Thomas is a beast. He's been around for a while from San Diego State. So he's pretty solid. Other than him, I didn't know too many of the guys. And he's their tallest guy at 6'8". So they just don't have much size. And they're going up against my sleeper team, Team Hines. So... yeah, I don't think out of those top 8 teams, I think that Challenge ALS is probably the weakest roster.
I think this is not going to be a good opinion, but I feel like Boheim's Army, they're going to get upset.
Whoa.
Yeah. Dante Green, Chris McCullough. I like Tyler Lydon. I like him, but I feel like it's going to be an upset because they're going to have to play my sleeper team, Heartfire.
Okay.
And I feel like it's going to be not going to be an easy game.
Do they play the zone like they do at Syracuse on the TBT?
I would imagine.
I saw them
if the
last
team
year.
gets hot against them, they can light them up.
Yeah, I saw them fluctuate last year. We'll see, but I like that. I like them as getting upset. I feel like it's due. It sounds like Syracuse to me.
It's the Syracuse alumni.
No,
team.
so I'm saying it's fitting. Like
the upset.
Yeah, like
they usually make
upset.
deep runs. Like when you least
Devendorf
expect
and
it.
Rottens.
Devendorf's on it. He's about to light it up, baby.
My point exactly. History repeats itself.
He is. I feel like he has to be up there in age, right? We watched that one game.
He's old, yeah. He's your guys' age.
I don't mean nothing. All right, so you got that team. I think I agree with you. I had challenged ALS for the pretty much same reasons. I looked at the roster and I wasn't impressed, and they'll probably win the whole thing because
that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. So
yeah.
I'm on you with that. So let's get into the final. So we're not going to do a whole bracket. Let's just who's your final 4 picks, the winner, and who's the MVP of the tournament. So we can just start with the final 4 picks, and then we'll go in order, and then we'll go back to the winner and do MVP. So David, let's go this way. David, you can start.
Okay,
You got the Final Four.
I'm gonna go with pretty much the locks. I'm gonna lock this in.
Lock it in.
Yeah, Carmen's Crew, Golden Eagles, shout out Marquette, Overseas Elite, and Heartfire because they're gonna upset Boheim's Army.
You got Heartfire in there. They're
Yeah,
14.
I like them.
All right.
Anything's possible. $1 million. Who knows? MVP. I have to go.
Oh, we'll go back. Hold that thought. Let's hear the Final Four for a minute.
All right, I got Carmen's Crew. I think they have by far the easiest road. So they'll probably play House of Pain or War Tampa. I think they get that game pretty easily. And then they're either going to play Red Scare, D2, or the Big Ten team. So they win 2 games. They're in the Final Four.
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty solid. I have them facing Stillwater. So I like Pat's pick there with Oklahoma State, like all the guys he mentioned. And I don't think they have a very tough road either, other than the Golden Eagles. So they'll have to beat that Marquette.
A little bump.
That would be an upset.
It's a little bump.
On the other side of the bracket, I have the money team taking out Overseas Elite, even though they
ISO Joe.
Joe Jesus.
That's your boy.
Yeah.
ISO Joe. Bryce
like,
Alford.
He's like 50, though. So
I'm curious. So when I was just talking to Tim, he said the Mayweather has some tricks up his sleeve. I'm curious. Like,
dude, their roster's
what-
already loaded.
Their team's pretty.
Bryce
he has-
Alford. Who else? Did they have Doolittle? Is
Tony
that team?
Tony Rotten, Willie Reed.
Oh, Tony Roten, just
yeah,
former NBA
Nick
guy.
Johnson,
Nick
Jordan
Bunnies
Crawford,
Johnson.
You just like Bunnies Johnson.
Kyle Wilcher.
Wilcher, that's who I was
Jeff
thinking
Ledbetter.
Remember Jeff Ledbetter drills?
Yeah, he's way.
Played Idaho. He was on the Team Fredette last year.
Yeah, I
I want
remember.
to say
He's got the long hair, right?
Yeah,
He's
he
good.
makes
He's good.
Everything.
He's a stud.
And then I think their best players at Wade Bald.
You have the
We
so you
ball
have
in
the
the
bracket
fourth?
in the who's the money team second? Who's their first game? The potential is it Herd?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Heard that.
that's who they're Herd in the money team.
They'll smash.
Let
that
me
team, man.
watch that game. Though.
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch.
Elmore and Alford it's gonna be a slugfest. Just
Yeah.
casting. I love
So
it.
if they beat Herd then they're facing Overseas Elite, which is by far the best
That'd be
matchup
a
in the
great
Elite
game.
8.
Yeah.
That's an 8, round of 8. Overseas Elite and the money team. There's a lot of both those teams are loaded. So I have money team, and then like I said earlier, Team Hines.
He likes Team Hines.
Yeah,
Like it.
Final Four.
Heinz gets velvet. All right, so I got War Tampa upsetting Carmen's Crew in the second round.
Whoa.
Bryce Brown, Fletcher McGee. Bryce Brown went 11 for 11 from three-point line
that's
in
what
a
I said.
G League
They
game.
have guards, but I just worry about
Horace
that.
Spencer down low. He's not bad. I feel like the one and done is the most interesting because it's one game. Like
Yeah.
you have
Oh,
McGee
yeah.
and Brown are cooking.
You got shooters. You have a chance.
I get Ohio State is they're repeating. I just think with the difficulty to repeat. I think War Tampa, Auburn. That's like kind of like the Auburn team, and they are so resilient. Like they win games.
That
I
would
don't
be
know.
a
I
sick
just
game
that's
too because
yeah.
they're just out there casting, but Ohio State's pretty solid. Like watching Aaron Kraft.
Kraft is
guard
probably-
McGee or Bryce Brown would be.
Kraft's probably the best, and Pete said this, probably the best distributor of the basketball in the TBT. He's so good
and the
at
best
just,
at running a team.
yeah. He's really good at that.
And he's
They
known
got
for
the-
defense, so I kind of want to watch him on Brown or McGee.
They got Buford won the MVP I think
Yeah.
last year when they won the tournament, and then they got David Leidy, Solinger's coaching. So it's going to be a fun matchup. But I'm picking the upset. I got War Tampa
They have Evan Turner on the bench, too.
coaching. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, no, that matchup's one of them. Hopefully, I like War Tampa a lot, but House of Pain could be a problem. But yeah, so I got War Tampa in the Final Four. I think Bryce Brown and Fletcher McGee just get hot. I'm a 3-point shooter, so I favor those obviously. And then I got Stillwater Stars. So I got 17 versus 21 in the one Final Four game.
All right.
Interesting.
And then I got Boeheim's Army versus Herd that.
Oh.
So I do like the money team though. That was kind of the match. The winner of that game I think goes to the Final Four.
Yeah.
But I got Herd that. I got to go with Elmore's. It's going to be Elmore getting hot. You got Rondell. I already talked about them.
Nobody has
I got Herd
overseas elite. That's
So I got my
so
final.
glad you did.
Yeah. So my Final Four is the seeding is 17, 21, 23, and 3. I just think the extra game helps in a situation like this. I don't know how much training have you had?
yeah.
Like I mean, obviously they all play, but
Just
just
you
the,
got teams with shooters, so if
When-
they
if-
have a chance if they're
if they get hot, as long as one of these 4 teams, well, Boeheim's Army is. I mean, as long as one of those other 3 crazy teams gets in, I'll be happy.
Yeah, be interesting.
That'd be fun. All right, so who do you got winning? Who do you got in the finals, and who's winning? So that was the final 4. You can go.
Well, I am going to go with Overseas Elite. After last year's loss, I think they
bounce back after
had
4 straight.
Yeah, they had a great team, and with the addition of Joe Johnson, that's my boy. He ruined the Clippers. Always going to have love for Joe Johnson. I feel like they're deep, they're experienced. I think this helps them with this quarantine because they're already a tight niche. It's gonna be back on the championship podium for them.
Yeah, they have a stacked roster. Yeah. The only thing they're missing is that Eric McCollum. Mm-hmm. So he was there for their first 4 wins, and then last year he missed the tournament. Mm-hmm. They ended up losing. He's out again. That's C.J. McCollum's brother, but he's kind of the point guard and was running the team. So we'll see. But they added, you said, they added Joe Johnson. They added Jarrett Jack to take his spot. So, yeah, they're stacked. I have Carmen's crew and the money team in the finals, and then I have the money team winning it.
All right, well, the money team is 14-1 to win it all. You got Overseas plus 160 if you want to lay some.
Do you think Floyd Mayweather gives them a bonus if they win it?
No. You don't care.
Like $2 million each player?
Maybe. They're not winning, though.
Hines is a good bet, too. They're plus 1,800.
Yeah.
And they took 4th last year and added Ethan Happen and a few other guys. That's not a bad bet at 18-1.
Yeah, that's not.
I got my team 60-1. I got War Tampa taking out Boeheim's Army in the championship game.
War Tampa.
War Tampa. I'm telling you, Fletcher McGee and Bryce Brown are going to get hot, and that's just going to be a 3-point barrage that you can't stop.
I hope so.
I love 3-pointers.
Watch.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's March Madness all over again. There's going to be game-winning shots. Fletcher's fading away, hitting 3 balls. He's got to redeem himself. So I didn't ask him about
you
this.
Didn't have a War Tampa versus the Herd. The Elmore brothers, casting.
I was trying to be somewhat. I had to have Boeheim's Army's team is stacked. They got Malachi Richardson, Dante Green.
Yeah,
they got a bunch of guys. But if I had to pick a team, I want to see Herd that versus War Tampa or Stillwater.
Okay.
But I have War Tampa versus Boeheim's Army. The MVP, my MVP, I got Bryce Brown. Already went. So if you go 11 for 11 from 3 in the G League game, you can take. I mean, obviously this team's high level, or this competition they're playing against is high level. But Bryce Brown, you better take over, bro. I asked you about it. You're gonna do it. All right. Who's your MVP? Who did you have winning? Carmen's crew. Who's the MVP?
No, not. Carmen's crew.
Overseas.
Overseas.
ISO Joe.
No.
Who's the MVP?
DJ Kennedy.
Oh,
he's already won it twice.
Yeah, he is a 4-time champion.
Yeah,
that's his.
It's his team.
TBT.
That's his IG.
Yeah.
Hand That's his
I guess he was offered some NBA contracts, but
he's good. That's the lefty guy.
Yeah, he's making more overseas.
He's a stud.
He's good. So Stephon Marbury is a stud. He has a statue in China.
Deserving.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying DJ Kennedy. I'm not saying you're good, but you ain't winning it this year, baby.
Whoa.
Woo-wee. All right, who you got? Who's your MVP?
So I got Money Team winning it, and I got Wade Baldwin winning the MVP.
The 4th.
So played at Vandy for 2 years, drafted first round in 2016. So he's only 24 years old, and I guess a lot of the NBA scouts are keeping an eye on his games. If he can play well, take his team deep, he's got a shot at an NBA contract.
He's good.
I'm going to take Wade Baldwin.
All right. I mean, we've covered probably most of these players to watch. We'll start with you, Wayne Baldwin. That's the player you want.
Yeah,
you got to watch him. You got who'd you just pick?
I like Joe Johnson.
DJ Kennedy,
I want to watch
Joe Johnson.
I want to see if he can do what he did last year in the Big 3.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to bring in a lot more viewers too because he's like a household name. Everybody knows him.
We love ISO Joe.
Oh, my first one I'll just go with Fletcher and Bryce. I'll just do a combo Fletcher, Bryce Brown. Obviously, I want to watch them. If you don't want to watch them, you're on something. Anybody else for you that you could think of? Like, there's a bunch of. I got 5. I got 5. 4 lists.
I want to see Isaiah Austin.
That'll be fun. I talked to Isaac Haas about that.
Okay.
I said, what are you going to do to stop him? He's like, I don't want to give away the scouting. Okay. He's like, we know how to play him. So that's going to be a good game. I want to watch that game just because I talked to Haas and I was like, what's your plan to stop Isaiah match up against him, basically. He's like, I don't want to give it away, but we got a plan.
He's going to poke him in the chest, mess his heart up.
That's not.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay. Isaiah Austin balled out last year, I think.
He did.
He did good.
He did.
Yeah.
So-
I would say Mike Dom, too. What he
Ooh.
averaged, like 30 a game
Yeah,
in college.
he was a monster.
I want to watch him. And he was never on TV because he played at, like,
South
North
Dakota.
South Dakota, yeah.
One of the Dakotas.
Those, yeah. So he was never on. So if we get a chance to watch him now.
Yeah, he's playing the.
That's the game to watch.
That's
right
the
there,
first game?
round. Yeah.
Yep.
Against Fletcher McGee and your
Yeah,
boy.
I'm definitely. Yeah.
You got to watch that one.
Dom's getting shut down. Horace Spencer, lockdown. All right. Who else we got? So, I've talked about Elmore. I'm going to watch him. He's shooting from anywhere. He's not towing the line. His brother's feeding the rock. So I got the Elmore brothers.
Okay.
Anything else for you?
No, I mean, these teams, they're all
Players.
Yeah, I mean, the players
Spitfire.
they're
Who's
all
on
deep.
Heartfire?
You have
Austin.
Isaiah Austin, Jordan Adams, Christian Doolittle,
Yeah.
Quincy Miller, and Malachi Richardson. Malachi Richardson's a stud.
He's on Syracuse, isn't he?
No, he's on.
Who'd you say?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Malachi's on Syracuse.
Yeah, he's on Syracuse. I meant Quincy Miller.
Who'd you say right before that?
Quincy Miller and Christian Doolittle.
Doolittle.
Yeah.
Doolittle. Nice, from Oklahoma.
He's
Dudley
a draft
Doolittle, right?
prospect.
Dudley Doolittle.
Right?
He played, but they didn't have March Madness, so the draft's coming up.
Right.
A lot of this big stage is going to be. A lot of these people are trying to make an
Like a
impression.
tryout,
Yeah. Do fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I like him. Christian Doolittle. I think he's going to be. This is a good little exhibition for him.
Yeah. And then there's like 5 players on the money team.
Alford.
Yeah, I mean, they all have.
Alford's going to be casting. Ledbetter is going to be casting.
Stop, I
Nick
like
Johnson.
I love Nick
could
Johnson.
Be he
Yeah.
posterize anybody.
How old is Nick Johnson right now? I feel like he's old, but I'm
30, maybe?
yeah.
Do you remember Ira?
If that.
How old was he? And he
Ira
was
Brown?
and he was.
Who was the dude on the
destroying
Lakers last year?
Who?
The
Caruso?
old guy.
Headband?
No, that was mine. Don't diss Caruso,
I'm
bro.
not. He was catching lobs.
He's going off. NBA time.
Oh,
Wait.
my God.
We'll see.
He should
Someone
be
is-
playing in the TBT.
Oh wow. So disrespectful.
Oh, Wichita State team. Would
No,
be
the what were we just talking about? Caruso. Right before that, dude. Come on.
On the Lakers?
Yeah.
sick. Yeah.
So you're talking about Ledbetter.
You guys are Lakers fans. I don't know anything about him.
Bryce Alford.
I don't know. We lost it. Whatever.
You remember Tony Roten?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was
Called
saying.
out. They have
Yeah,
him.
he's
They have
sick.
Willie
That
Reed,
team's
the
good,
6'11" dude. He's a beast.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Who was before that? Keep going. Ledbetter. Who else?
Wiltshire?
Wiltshire's my
Nick Johnson.
Bunnies Johnson. I don't know. We've lost track. Just edit this. Don't edit it. I don't give a shit. All right. Player to watch. Brandon Trish. Trichet.
Trish. On
Full's nasty at Syracuse.
Fahim's Army, yeah.
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 He will be. That's the reason. That's almost the reason. That is the reason I picked him. Him and Malachi Richardson.
Yeah.
Dudes are nasty. Brandon Trish is going to get to the rim whenever he wants.
Yeah.
And Devendorf. You always got to watch Devendorf.
I love.
Oh,
it.
and
if
Is
Deven,
Robin's on the team?
no,
No.
that would be a lock if they
Dude,
were
Travis
playing.
Diener. He's
Diener,
Remember?
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like 42 on
That's
the Golden
right.
Eagles, and he hit
Tim-
the game winner.
Tim was calling him out. He said,
Yeah,
"Watch
you
him.
gotta
He's trying
watch
to
him.
play."
Yeah.
Dean.
But if Routens
I'm picking Boheim's Army for sure.
and Devendorf and Johnny Flynn, Okaru, was it Okaru? No, he was on UConn. That was the best game I've ever seen.
That was the 7
That's the
overtime
best
game was
game I've
sick.
ever watched
Yeah.
on TV. I watched it in 4 different locations. My house,
5
Tuscarora,
overtimes?
7.
6, 7?
Yeah, 7
overtimes.
overtimes.
Do you remember? Were you
That
with
was
me?
good.
Were you
That was
with me?
Kemba, right?
Kemba Walker.
Devendorf.
It was like his sophomore year.
Yeah.
They had it was stupid.
Yeah, I remember that
Thabit might have been there. I don't know if he was there yet.
He's in this too. He's on a squad.
That's the team that got replaced.
Oh.
They were supposed to play Hurd.
Why
Jimmy
did they
V.
get replaced?
Some
Coronavirus, right?
Player tested
Yeah.
positive. If one player, they're out of replacement teams.
So if one player gets it, your team's done.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That's pretty crappy.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, TBT. So official selections. I got Ward Tampa. David's got
Overseas Elite.
and
The
Stenson's
money
got.
team. And
Oh,
Floyd
man.
Mayweather
And
has some
Floyd
tricks up his
Mayweather.
sleeve, we heard.
That's a
from
savage
Tim.
move.
So the team's already stacked. If he's adding anything else,
I feel like he's going to add like Conor McGregor to play shooting guard. I would be the best thing ever.
Stop.
Wouldn't that
They're
be
going to
good?
be down 1 with like 10 seconds left. He's going to put himself in. And
He
hit a
takes
game
the
winner.
shirt off.
Yeah.
He comes in.
Hits a game winner.
Oh,
my goodness.
crazy. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. TBT action. We'll tune in. War Tampa's a lock.
Get your fireworks ready.
Bye.